there. I'm going to be scrapbooking these 4 photos of my cats. They're just snapshots and they tell the story of my older 17-year-old cat, Naomi, just getting used to the idea of having 2 kittens around and having to share her bed. She was kind of getting along with them very, very well. And then this day they discovered her bed and started sleeping in it, and she looked at them and looked at me as if to say, "Are you gonna do anything about this?" And so, um, anyhow, now they share quite nicely, but it was quite funny for me to see Naomi discovering that the little kittens like her bed. So I'm just having a look at the Heart It Races kit, and I'm looking for a neutral background. And I had originally picked this piece of Chamel paper from American Crafts, but and that piece of paper from Crate Paper with the file tabs is way too busy. But I'm just kind of looking through the kit to see if there might be any other neutral paper that might want to use as my background. And I definitely want to use these tabs on this layout. I'm just not going to use it as a background paper. So I've picked one of the tabs, the one that says Remember, and I just cut around that other tab so I could keep it just in case I wanted to use it again. That's the red tab, but I'm going to pick this one with text all over it, and it has a little sticker printed onto it that says Remember. It's not a real sticker, it's just printed onto the pattern paper. And so I'm thinking about using that as the thing that's going to define the space of the layers that I'm going to put on this layout. And because that's so neutral, I changed my mind and decided to go with a colorful background. So I decided to use this orange paper, also from the Chamel collection from American Crafts. It's really pretty. It has Chamel's handwriting all over it. And I needed to mat these photos, so I took this Chickanitty paper from the Scrumptious collection, and I love this. It's like a warm gray, it's almost a taupe with white stars on it, and I love that paper. And I do like the paper on the other side of it. It's got that colorful starburst, and I'm going to use that as well on this layout. So I'm going to end up using both sides of that Chickanitty paper. So I'm just using my trimmer here to trim this up. I have 2 trimmers, and people ask me, why do you use one or the other? I usually use the one that is closest to me. And this one is, I know exactly, just because I've had it for so long, I know exactly where it's going to cut. So when I need to do some fussy trimmer cutting, I will usually pick that one by Fiskars as opposed to my Caterpillar one. Thinking about using some stamps here, but I'm going to hold off for now. And I'm just looking at some of those other pattern papers that I have, because now I want to start making some layers mostly over to the left of this layout. And I thought about adding another file tab and maybe using it as a way to define the bottom part of the space that will be the layers. And so I did cut off a tab, and then I decided, no, I don't want to do that. So I want to use, this is the B side of that star. Well, it's actually probably the A side of that star paper from Chickanitty. And I like that it's kind of energetic. It's got these bursts. It's kind of like a starburst pattern when you look at the whole piece of paper, but when you have just a piece of this, you still get that kind of energetic feeling of motion. So here I'm fussy cutting around the yellow file tab, and I thought about using it like that, but no, I don't like that at all. It's going to pose a lot of problems with my layers, and so I'm not going to do that. So I am going to use this hexagon paper. This is from Pebbles. It's got home in the title. What's it called? Homemade. And so I'm going to have this be my kind of my largest layer on this paper, and then I'm also going to use this triangle paper, which is from Notes and Things by Crate Paper, which is one of my favorite collections these days. I love that collection. It's just got so many beautiful neutral papers in it. It's a great staple. Like if you're going to buy a collection that you're just going to use to add in with other things, the Notes and Things makes a great collection to get. Having said that, I don't actually own it, but I do like seeing it pop up in my kits. So I'm just playing around with how these layers are going to layer, and when I kind of put it down, it popped up and I had to reposition them when I went to glue the other side of it. So I just repositioned that, and you'll notice that I'm just kind of hacking at my paper. I'm not using a trimmer, and I'm not even being all that careful about whether it's straight. And that just gives it a bit more of a casual look. And I did forget to outline, so I'm going to just go through. I have a .05 pen here, or no, a .5 pen, and I'm just going to outline after the fact, which isn't too hard when you've got big layers like this. They're not too squeezed together. I thought about outlining the filing tab, but I decided not to. It has a lot of contrast against that background paper, which is orange. It's quite light, and I just felt like it didn't really need to be outlined. So, and now I'm just going to use my grid paper to help me put that down straight. When I put it down the first time, it was not straight at all. So you see I'm lining up the top of that orange paper with my grid mat, and then I'm just having it so that so that it so that that tab ends at the same place on the grid mat on both sides, and that allows me to know that for sure that it's straight. And then I can just line up everything else along the top of it so that all of the layers that run across the top of the layout are manufacturer cut or they're straight cut, and then it's the bottom where the edges are hand cut, and so they're not quite that perfect. So these are the printables which I put through my Cameo, and I just cut around them. And I've decided to put these 3 labels as the anchoring points for my 3 places where I might embellish. And this is before I've decided what my title will be or how long my title will be. And so at this point, I was thinking that I would have 3 places of embellishment, but it turns out that the first 2 are really going to be the same embellishment cluster because my title is going to be so long, it's going to take up both. It's going to fill up the space between both of my embellishment clusters over on the left hand side. So now I'm going to repeat a few elements on each of those 3 places. So I already have it looks like a file folder sticker on on all 3 places, and now I'm going to take these freckled fawn paper clips that came with the kit and I had 3 of them left, so I thought that was pretty convenient. I'm going to have one of them pointing to the bed, the cat bed, because this layout is about the cat bed. And then I just had to make sure that the one that says today, it had to go over on the left side because otherwise it would be upside down or backwards, depending on how I put it. So this is some washi tape that I took out. It didn't come with the kit, but it matched so well with the kit that I pulled it out. This kit didn't come with washi tape. Sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. And so I just decided that I would keep this washi tape, and I did buy the Chamel from American Crafts washi tape dispenser because it was just too darn cute. And so I thought whatever washi tape goes with my current kit, I'll just keep it out on my desk in that dispenser every month. So I put washi tape under the Today paper clip from Freckled Fawn, mostly for readability because it was getting lost in the background. There were some distracting elements behind Naomi's head there. It was my makeup table, and there was just too much stuff. So I put the washi tape there for that reason, but then I decided to just repeat the washi in the other 2 places. Again, it's just another continuity of those elements in those 3 different places, and the repetition kind of gives your layout a little bit of flow and gives it some predictability as well. So I wanted to use this yellow doily as an embellishment, and I thought about using it there and there, but I then changed my mind and decided to use it as a layer underneath this main kind of cluster of potential embellishments. The reason I was thinking this would be the main cluster of embellishments is, and I just had to get some adhesive under there to keep it stuck put. is because it is pointing to the bed, and so it made sense to me that my major embellishments would go there. Now, there's where I came up with my title. It was the post on Instagram for one of these photos, and so it says, "No one told me that I would have to share my bed with these rascals," or something along those lines. So once I decided to have such a long title, it occurred to me that these two places that I had designated as potential clusters of embellishments will no longer be able to have that many embellishments because it would interfere with the title too much. So I'm going to go ahead and print out and kind of spell out my title. These are We Are Memory Keepers letter stickers that came in the kit, and then the word bed is spelt with Fancy Pants letter stickers that came in the kit. And then I'm spelling out Rascals with these chickanitty letter stickers that came in the kit. And when I do a long title, I do like to start with the main words in the title. So share, bed, and rascals are the words that have the most meaning in this title, and then all of the other words are kind of filler words that certainly add to the meaning of the title, but they're not the words that I necessarily want everybody to be looking at. So what I did here was I just took out the letter Z because I have to experiment. I'm thinking I would like to outline these letter stickers, and I have to experiment just to make sure that it's going to look okay on the We Are Memory Keepers letter stickers. I know it'll look okay on the other ones, but those We Are Memory Keeper ones that the word share is made out of, those ones have like a flocked type of surface to them. So I have to make sure that my marker is going to show up and it's not going to be too much of a pain to do that. And as I outline this Z, I can really tell that it's going to be easy and actually a little bit of fun to outline these letter stickers. And so it is a lot of outlining, but I think it's really worth it for a couple of reasons. A, it helps my title to stand out from all of the layers, and then I also have those two places where I was going to cluster some embellishments, so there's even more detail in those two places, and these letters are going to go over top of those layers, and I want them to be quite readable, and the layers are made out of some of the same colors that these letter stickers are made out of, so the yellows and the pardon me, the yellows and the oranges show up in the layers that these stickers are going to be going on top of. So I really want this to be readable. Pardon me, I'm losing my voice. And as I layer these over top, if I don't outline them, they might blend in certain places. So outlining it just makes it a little bit more contrasting to whatever is underneath of it. The second reason that I'm outlining is because I am going to be using a total of 4 different letter stickers. So I have these 3 that I've already picked out and you guys already know about, but I'm also going to pick out a 4th type of letter sticker that I'm going to use for all of the in-between words. And by outlining these words, it just helps bring them together and makes them seem like they go together a little bit more. One thing that I wanted to mention is that I switched pen to outline the word bed. I've used these letter stickers before by Fancy Pants, and I know that they are a slick surface, so if I use my regular pen on them, it will smudge and smear and won't show up. So I switched to my Staedtler Lumocolor pen, and it is my favorite pen for using on slick surfaces. I haven't found a slick surface yet that it won't write on and it never smears. It's designed for writing on overhead transparencies, so that is my favorite pen but for slick surfaces. But I did remember to switch back to my non-slick surface pen for these chickanitty letter stickers. The reason being is that if you use the Lumocolor pen or any slick surface pen on a non-slick surface, it tends to bleed a lot and it makes a rough, jaggedy, and thick edge, like a lot thicker line than what you would probably want. So I always try to remember to only use my Lumocolor on slick surfaces. So Now, I'm deciding to use these October afternoon letter stickers. I knew I wanted mini market letter stickers because I wanted tile letter stickers so that they wouldn't have to compete with the layers below. And I also wanted a set of stickers that I had a whole sheet of because this is a long title and I don't want to run out of any letters. Another bonus of this letter sticker is that it does have the black letters, so instead of being a color on a different color or having, a color with a white letter in the middle of it, I like that this one is black because it helps it tie in with the black outlining that I did around the other letter stickers. And so again, it helps all the letter stickers coordinate with one another because they all have black on them in some way or another. So it is going to take me a little bit of time here to spell out my title, and I'm putting it on some wax paper so that I can move it around on my layout and decide how close I want to put these phrases together, and and just make sure that I have room for everything that I plan to put on this title. And I'm going to cut my wax paper quite closely here so that I can layer it easily. If you leave too much wax paper, it gets hard to layer them together and get them close enough that you can see how they look. So I kind of like how that looks. The word my is a little bit over too far there. I'm actually going to put it on the other side of the paper clip, but I really like how this title is coming out. And it means that I'm actually not going to need to do too much more embellishment in those two places, too much more embellishing in those two places that I had designated as potential embellishment clusters. So that the two clips there over on the left hand side, I will still do some embellishing over on the clip over on the right hand side. So that's what it's going to pretty much look like. I'm just getting rid of some of my wax paper strips so that it doesn't take away from the exposure of my video camera. And I'm not spending too much time figuring out how these are going to go. I'm just slapping them down. I find with the mini market stickers, they're really easy to make them straight because you just line them up with the one that you already put down. And because they're a reasonable size, like because they're rectangular, you can kind of line them up pretty easily and it doesn't get crooked as you go along, as long as you follow the first one. So now at this point, I want to put down my word share because it is the largest word and I'm going to want it to go under that paper clip that's pointing at the bed. I would have liked the word bed to fall beside the paper clip that points to the word bed, but I would have had to have shifted everything up higher, and that's not the design that I was looking for. So I'm going to end up with the share pointing to the bed. But the idea is that she's having to share her bed, so it's okay. It's okay as it is. So I wasn't sure how to justify all of these words, like if I was going to center them or have them right justified or left justified or just go random, and I ended up just going random with them. So I'm just having a quick look at it to make sure that I'm liking how it shows up. I couldn't find the word my. I lost it somewhere along the way. I'll probably find it when I go to clean up. But this word bed is a little bit tricky because it is falling right where a bunch of corners are for some of those pattern papers. And I don't want those lines in the background to be too distracting with the outlining that I did on the letter stickers. So I'm being mindful of, like I'm making that D, I pushed it over a little bit so that it covers up that corner of the paper where the triangle paper meets the other paper. And I'm just kind of mindful as I line them up that I'm covering over some of those distracting corners. And the spacing is not going to be perfectly, like it's not going to be exactly the same down here as it was up at the top. You'll notice that the I was and going to and have to are quite spread out, and then with these is kind of smushed in a little bit more between bed and rascals. But that's just the nature of these kinds of titles. They don't have to be absolutely perfectly spaced out exactly. And for me, when I'm going to have things be spaced out more, I like the more spacious parts of the layout to be at the top, because it gives it kind of a sense of like an airy feeling. And then I like the squished up elements to be down towards the bottom, because it gives weight to the bottom of the layout, and that just makes sense for me, the way that I think about the design of a layout. And so for me, I don't mind it if it's more squished at the bottom, but it would look a little funny to my eye if it was squished too much at the top, so I might fix that. So now I'm just going to make a little banner out of this little cat embellishment from Chickanitty. I didn't even realize there was a cat embellishment in this kit. It just was sticking out of my tray, and I saw it there and thought, oh, there's a cat embellishment. Yay, I get to use it on a cat layout. So I just cut teeny little flag borders, and I'm just layering it under that today clip again, another thing to put under the today clip. And I'm also going to add another layer of this doily. I knew I wanted to put the other half of the doily somewhere on this layout, and it makes sense for it to be kind of on the other side of the photos and with the other kind of bunch of embellishments. So I'm looking at some of the other stickers that came in the kit. These are by Teresa Collins, and I love them. They're just beautiful colors, and I need to fill up this space beside Rascals, so I put this border sticker, which was the perfect length, and then I'm going to put, this says Besties, and I couldn't resist putting that somewhere on the layout, so I'm just going to put it up on the top photo. And this one says Friends, and it says Friends Today, which, it took them a bit of a process to become friends. It always does with cats. And then this says Life is Better with Friends, and it layers nicely with that other border sticker. So I'm just kind of adding some things that are relevant to the layout, and also decorative elements that are going to balance out that title, because the title has a lot going on, and then there's also some things layered around the title, and so I just want to make sure that I have enough elements on the other side. So now I'm going to do some stamping on the top of this, and then I'm also going to balance it out by doing stamping on the bottom as well. These are um, some Stampin' Up stamps that I have. And at first, you see how it's all wobbly and I can't get it down right. I decided I'm going to position this right on the layout instead of doing it on my grid paper, because it just works better that way. So I'm going to take my Misty, which is the most incredible stamping tool invented, and I'm going to bring it over and use that for my stamping. So what that does is it just picks up the stamp right where I want it to be, and then I kind of straightened it out a little bit, and then I just double checked to make sure that it would stamp in the right place after I straightened it. The Misty has a grid on it, and it's a much easier way to straighten out these long stamps is to use the Misty tool to straighten it. Stamped a little bit on my grid paper there. And now I'm gonna do something weird here. So I want to mask this off, but I'm not too sure how I'm going to do it. So here's what I'm doing. I'm actually attaching that washi tape to the underside of that stamp, and now I'm going to pick it up with my Misty tool, and look, it's already masked. And then I just pull off the tape, and it's going to stamp in exactly the spot that I wanted it to. So I was like, yay, that worked. I just kind of like was totally winging it there for that. But I'm so happy that it worked. I think it's a technique that I'm going to use again. It's great for scrapbooking. Like this tool, I thought it would be more for card making, but it's working really well with scrapbooking. So I did the same thing here, where I just used a piece of washi tape, but it's a long piece of washi tape, so it's not going to lay down backwards as nicely as I wanted it to. So I just put a little bit of temporary adhesive there to hold the washi from rolling off until I got it stuck to the stamp. Now I'm going to ink it, take off the washi tape, and boom, my stamping is in just the right spot. I had to remove the temporary adhesive there, and that was fun. So I will put a link to where you can find the Misty. I'm going to do a Fab Find Friday on the Misty. I know I promised you guys that one already, and there were a couple of different things that got in the way of me doing that, so I'll get on that video as soon as possible. So I want to use the wood veneer and cork embellishments that came in this kit. I really want to use them in various places around the title. I like when there's a long title, I like to sprinkle little small embellishments amongst it just for a little bit of added interest and to fill up some of those spaces that happen naturally when you're doing a long title. So all of those stars, there are solid stars and outline stars, but they're all about the same size. So I went into my stash here. This is a washi storage, not washi storage. I store my wood veneers in this thing. It's a whole bunch of containers that stack together, and I get it in the scrapbooking supply section in the scrapbooking storage supply section of Michael's, and I don't know the name of them, but they come in sets of two, and it comes with two bottoms and two lids. So I'm just taking some tiny wood veneer stars to sprinkle amongst the larger shapes that came with the kit. So the October afternoon mini market stickers and these smaller wood veneer stars are the two things that came from my kit for this layout, or from my stash for this layout. Everything else is from the kit. And I'm just using washi or glossy accents to glue this down. And I'm placing most of them in threes, but there's a couple of places where I just put either one or two. Just because if you put everything in threes, it looks a little bit contrived. So I like to mix it up a little bit and sometimes use ones or twos, or even fours or fives. It's tricky using even numbers, but fives are easy. Threes and fives are easy. I'm having one last look at the embellishments that came in the kit just to make sure, and those are the Chicken Nitty die cuts that I got the kitty cat one from, just to see if there might be anything else that's relevant or that I want to put on this layout. And there isn't. So my very last step will be to do some misting. I'm going to zoom out in a second. There we go. So I just got my cake box. And I'm going to do a fair amount of masking on this one. So I'm starting off by masking off my photos. I don't want any mist to land on my photos. Then I'm going to mask off my large words because I don't want any mist blobbing on those. And then I'm going to decide to go ahead and mask off all of my letter stickers. That is because I often get splotches on my letter stickers and then I have to go back with a little baby wipe and paper towel and clean it off. And I thought with a title this long, my chances of splattering on the title are pretty high. So I'm just going to mask it off. I wanted to mask it off individually like this though because I do want splatter to land in between my title, and so I didn't want to just mask it all off as one big chunk. So first I used Heidi Swap Gold, and now I'm using Mr. Huey's White. And I was going to leave it at that, and then I'm just kind of dabbing it off of the cork with just my finger. And I'm going to use Mr. Huey's Silver as one last color. I like to mist with three colors. Just adds a little bit of interest. So although I was going to use some of those Chicken Nitty enamel stars on this layout, once I had wood veneer and cork and splatters on there, I just said, whoa, that's enough. This is actually quite a busy layout, and so I'm not going to put anything else on this because it is quite detailed. So it is one of my busier layouts, but I really do like how this one turned out. I love a long titled layout, and I really, really love using those October afternoon mini market letter stickers. I've got lots of them in my stash, so I love it when I get a chance to use a lot of them. There was just a little piece of the masking paper that I had used stuck in amongst the layout. So, and I actually really enjoy how this cluster right here turned out. I like the two little stars and I like the little kitty cat. Even though she's looking off the page, I would have rathered her be facing the other way, but she still looks really cute like that. So now you'll get to see some photos of this layout. Thanks so much for watching, everyone, and I hope you have a really great scrappy week.